Everybody Hates Rand is a Wheel of Time podcast that will contain spoilers for all 14 books. So if you're anti-spoiler, pause this, read all 14 books, and come back. We'll be here, waiting.
Our title is a joke and is meant to be taken as such. In the context of this podcast, everybody refers to us and our cat. You are free to feel however you want about Rand, who is a fictional character. Don't DM us.
The world is a mess, Dark One stretching out his hand. The dragon's reborn, the fire's been fanned, but everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand. Everybody hates Rand.
Anyway, that was your really exciting 10-minute open about editing. And pillows of fiber. This is Everybody Hates Rand, your friendly neighborhood Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Sally Goodger.
I'm Emily Jusha. Here we are, back from our holiday hiatus.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Merry Crimbus.
Happy Hanukkah.
This is coming out in 2021, which is exciting. We'll just add our voices to the chorus of desperate pleas for mercy from on high. Here's hoping 2021 is better, but we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah.
It's certainly not better in terms of Lord of Chaos.
Yeah, we might also curse 2021 by reading Lord of Chaos as we ring in the new year.
Just like how I was reading A Memory of Light last year, and it's been all downhill from there.
Emily caused the coronavirus.
I did. Felt like karma.
Yeah. Happy New Year to whoever is listening, all 6 of you or whatever. I know there's more than 6 of you. Thank you for listening to our podcast and for listening to it all of 2020. I hope it was a small bright spot in the darkness. I didn't read the chapters today because I don't know how much of the cold open Emily kept, but I'm dying due to work. So, Emily, take it away. Oh, she can't reach.
I can't reach the Lord of Chaos, and I immediately forgot everything that happened. There were lots of points of view. We started out with Egg waking up from her sex dream. It's a little confusing because I think it is morning when she wakes up, but then she goes back to sleep. We did learn a little bit about her ailment that she's had since Lanfear attacked her, which is that I guess she had a really bad headache for a long time, and now that isn't chronic so much, but it's like whenever she goes in to tell her on Riyadh, she gets headachy after.
Ugh, that sucks.
Yeah, headaches are no fun.
Poor Egg.
And like she can mostly, like there's Fantasy NyQuil or Advil PM, I guess, that she can take. Sleep well root. I love when fantasy medicine names are just like Stopcough herb.
Hey, do you have any of that Stopcough herb?
No more sore throat tincture, please. Sleep well root. Night nurse is better.
Night nurse.
Well, better name. I don't know about objectively as a medicine.
Yeah, I've never had sleep well root.
Night nurse.
Is it just melatonin? What's happening?
I don't know. Anyway, she's all like blushy all day because she keeps thinking about how it's strongly implied, although not said straight out, that the dream that she got caught in of Gawyn's continued and there was sex involved.
Yeah, and she's like, oh no.
And she goes back to sleep, and she has some dreams of her own that start off along the Gawyn vein, which I wish they didn't. Luckily, it's not described a lot, but it's like, well, they're more my speed, so instead of sex, it's like him waxing poetic about his love for me, as though, like, it's just clearly, like, Robert Jordan is like, teen girls don't have sexual desires.
It would be so funny if Eggs was, like, triple X
Egg was like, I had some extremely pornographic dreams about Gawyn.
Yeah.
They were kinky, and I'd be like, cool.
Like, Gawyn's is like, I lay you down in a bed of flowers.
Extremely vanilla sex.
And
It's
like
all kind
fade to black.
It's like blurred.
Yeah.
Egg is blurred because he doesn't actually know what a naked woman looks
Yeah.
like. He's just sort of guessing.
Pixelated like one of the Sims. And then we get to Egg and it's like...
Full frontal nudity.
Yeah, she's like full frontal nudity. It's very fun. There are sex toys involved.
Yeah.
It'd be so fab. It would just be very funny. And also very powerful. But no, Egg is like, it's very sexy to me when Gawyn speaks. it's like,
and I'm like, what? All I want is for him to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Or, do something else with his mouth.
Yeah, there you go.
Something that would actually bring anyone pleasure. Speaking ain't it. Then she starts slipping into the realm of, like, her prophetic dreams. Most of these seem to be about her pushing him one way or another. Not him pushing her pushing him. I don't know if I said that correctly. Which
like,
is...
pushing him over?
Her just, like... whack! And he falls over. No, like, taking him by the shoulders and, like, turning him around to face a different direction. Which has to do with their dynamic in the later books, where Egg is the one with actual political and social power and is the one who is supposed to be in charge, not necessarily within the realm of their sexual or romantic relationship, but she is a political leader, and he is acting as her bodyguard, so that is a different relationship than man and woman who are in love, and they're trying to navigate that, usually in the least productive way possible. We would, of course, love to put all the blame on Gawyn for being a terrible partner and all of that, and resisting anytime Egg is like, could you please do this or this or this? He's just like, no, I am man.
Disgusting.
I know what's best. But Egg is also not a very good communicator in any of those instances, and she's mostly just like pushy and bossy and doesn't explain what she needs from him or why.
Yeah.
Which is the classic Wheel of Time gender dynamics, so I don't even know why I'm talking about it. She keeps going through her prophetic dreams. You get your classic Perrin with a hawk and a falcon on either of his shoulders, and he keeps trying to throw away the axe, except every time the axe comes back and starts chasing him, which is actually kind of hilarious, because if the birds are still on his shoulders, then it's just like, wah, as he is running away from an axe. Perrin turns away from a tinker and runs faster and faster, though Egg calls for him to come back, and it's just like, boo, Aram, he's so scurry. I don't know.
Perrin's like, pacifism? No!
But also throw away my axe. I just like the idea of the axe and Aram ganging up to
Kick Perrin's ass.
hunt down Perrin.
And be like,
could you please have fewer issues about this? Go to therapy!
gosh. If only more men would go to therapy.
I mean, seriously. Matt speaks the old tongue, and there are two ravens that settle on his shoulders, and they like claws dig into him. And Egg says defiance passed across his face, and then grim acceptance, which is not really the way you want to start. I assume the ravens symbolize like the Shanshin, but specifically how Matt will be forced to take a position of nobility within the Shanshin. Which is like, I don't really think he should need to accept that. He should just be like, see ya.
Yeah.
In another, a woman, face shrouded in shadow, beckoned Matt toward great danger. Edwin did not know what, only that it was monstrous. I'm not quite sure what that is referring to. It's so vague that it could be any number of things. Tylin, Tuan, whatever. Aludra. Being like cannons. Who's to say? Rand being forced to his knees by Elaine, which could be fun in some scenarios, but since this is referring to the Warder Bond, it's not. Him being surrounded by Elaine and Min and Avienda, each taking turns to lay a hand on him. him walking toward a burning mountain, something crunching beneath his boots. And it would have been cool if it was bones, but no, it's the Seals to the Dark One's prison, which is way lamer.
Yeah. Should be the bones of his enemies.
I just think bones. I just read the Bone Ships, the Squeakquel, and so now
I'm gonna fucking murder you. Emma's gonna die today.
My sister exclusively uses, and I'm sure you guys have heard me say it, my sister uses regular instead of regular, to the point that I have heard regular more than I have heard regular, and so now the word regular sounds wrong to me. And I don't even notice it, except that this last weekend when I was with Devin and Janet, Devin was like, "Can I ask you a personal question?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Where does regular come from?" And I was like, "Oh, it comes from Sarah, who just thinks it's a very hilarious joke."
It is very funny. Regular.
Anyway, I've decided to do that with the word sequel. I want to make it sound wrong. I just want it to be squeakquel.
It's trying to catch these hands is what she's trying to do.
It's just so funny. Anyway, bone aesthetics are good sometimes. Then she kind of slips out of the realm of prophecy and back into regular nightmares where she's like, the Black Aja, blah, 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 blah. And then she's getting poked. Poke. Egg gets woken up by one of the guys, Shane. Her name is Gawyn, which is terrible. Cowindy?
Her name's Cowwind.
Cowindy.
Cow indie. It's a very indie cow.
It is blatantly just like cow, as in cowering or coward, which really tells you what Robert Jordan's feelings on this are. She is one of the guys, Shane, who, like, her year of servitude or whatever is up, but she has refused to go back to normal life. And Egg talks a little bit about the various things that are happening with the Ale, who are having a hard time with Rand's revelation, including the guy Shane, who are doing this. Some people are just abandoning ship and going to join the Shadow. Some people are abandoning ship and doing God knows what. And we don't really know where all of these Ale are going. As far as I know, it is not answered within the series. Maybe they just, like, integrate into normal life or something. But there's not, like, a mass of people who just, like, ditched the Ale that I know of. Anyway, then the wise ones come in and are like, "Hey, what's up? It seems like you didn't get very much sleep last night." Amisa's like, "'Cause I tried to check on you and you weren't dreaming," which is pretty wild. And Egg is like, scared. Because she was like, "Well, I was having a sex dream, but it was not my dream," so she does not want to get found out by the wise ones, because then maybe they will stop her education.
Egg-ucation.
Egg-ucation. Stupid. And it's just like the wise ones chatting with Egg. I don't really know why they have come to visit her this early in the morning.
Yeah.
But they're like, "Are you well? What's going on?" We're kind of thinking maybe the next time the Aes Sedai meet, then you can come with us, because they're being such bastards about it.
Yeah.
They're the fucking worst. And they're like, "Do you have..." Egg's like, "I have questions." Apparently she always thinks of questions about Teleron Riyadh, because really she's experimenting in Teleron Riyadh on her own. And she asks, "Can you get pulled into a dream? Against your will, essentially." And they're like, "Yeah, if you like looking on the dream of someone who has really strong feelings for you, love or hate or whatever, then you can get sucked in." And she's like, "Well, can a dream, like, find you?" And they're like, "Only if the love is so mythologically great is the legend." And I'm like, boring!
Yeah.
Gawyn's feelings about Egg are not stronger than anyone. It's so weird to, like, quantify romantic feelings that way.
Yeah.
Like, his feelings are so strong, because what it really means in the text is that his feelings are so obsessive.
Yes.
Which is actually not a good thing. It's a really scary thing.
Red flag.
But it is not seen as a scary thing in this text.
Yeah.
Obsession equals love.
That's not right, kids.
That's not true.
In case you were wondering.
If anyone is ever obsessed with you to the point that you're getting sucked into their sex dreams, that's bad.
That is bad. If their sex dreams find you while you're floating in dream space,
The dream void.
that is a red flag.
I mean, how would you know?
That it was the sex dream about you?
No, I mean, like, how would you know if it was their sex dream or your sex dream?
Oh.
It's always a question.
Well, I guess you just have to get in it and see if you're changed
Oh,
to
you
a
have
float.
to... Yeah.
Or not.
It all depends.
Really just depends on
Who's chained to what?
Yeah. What's going on?
Who's happy? Blah, 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 blah. Does your childhood friend and crush get decapitated in front of you?
Yes or no?
Yes or no?
We'll make it. It's like a flow chart.
It's like a quiz. Oh, it's your sex dream. No, his sex dream. Their sex dream, I should say. There's also like a very little side note in here where Bear, one of the wise ones, references another wise one who was Bear's teacher named Mora, who lived to be supposedly almost 300 years old, which isn't plot important or anything. It just lends itself to Robert Jordan's favorite type of world building, which is where you have to piece together world building like a puzzle rather than just receiving the information. This lends itself to what we're about to encounter in Book 7 with the knitting circle in Ebu Dar, which is the idea that women, the Aes Sedai, have that weird ageless look, not because they can channel, but because they're using the Oath Rod.
Mm.
Like, that is a side effect of the Oath Rod. So we have really wise ones who can channel, also have longevity like Aes Sedai, but are not, their Amis doesn't look weird and ageless.
Yeah.
She just looks younger than she is.
Ambiguously 25 forever
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The Aes Sedai age thing is so weird.
It's whack, I agree.
Like, I'm at a point in Path of Daggers where Swan is like, all the sitters of the hall are too young. None of them are older than 100.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
It's like
what?
such a weird plot point, and she's like, it's a conspiracy, and you're like, what the?
I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are they all so old?
We then switch, speaking of yawning, we then switch over to Elaine and Nynaeve, who are both just yawning their heads off because, sorry, I shouldn't say it because it'll trigger it, because they were both up all night, essentially. Nynaeve ended up trying to stay up all night, like Theodrin asked her, and Elaine was up basically until Birgitte got an Aes Sedai to tell her to go to sleep, because she was helping with the weird bubble of evil. And everyone is congregated around the, main building in Salidar to find out what the Hall of the Tower has said in response to the White Tower ambassador. And it's just this kind of anticlimactic moment where Turna Fair comes out and just gets on her horse and leaves. And everyone's like, that was awkward.
Bye.
And then Ramonda, who is the senior sitter, gets up on a cart and says a lot of words for meaning nothing. Like, she has a little paragraph that's just like, keep going, everyone. Nothing's changed. And everyone's like, we don't actually know what we're doing here to begin with. So, and the Hall of the Tower is like, neither do we. It's all just sort of awkward.
We're all just sitting here in Plot Purgatory until Edwin gets here.
It's Plot Purgatory. That's a perfect way to say it. I feel like I'm dead.
For reasons completely unknown, we don't get Egg in Salidar for another 200 pages or whatever.
Let's find where it is.
It is too long.
Let me find where it is. Ba-ba-da. Aha. So, Egg gets told that she is going to be the next Amyrlin on page 660. We are on page 370, which means we still have 300 pages to go.
For fuck's sake.
I want to lose my mind.
It feels like we're not far into this book at all, but also we've been reading it for 100 years.
I know. Every time I open it, I'm like, oh, we're a good ways in. But then I'm like, I remember everything that still has to happen.
Yeah.
Everything that happens in this 300-page chunk is nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that happens here.
Egg just makes out with Gawyn a few times.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Then there's like that Shadar Lagoth thing for Rand. Matt gets attacked. Or something.
What else is new? Yeah.
Maybe Padon Fane gets assassinated. That would be nice, I think. Not Padon Fane, Pedro Nile.
Yeah. I wish Padon Fane got assassinated.
Every day I long for the assassination of Pedro Nile and Padon Fane. I want them to kill each other.
That'd be fun.
Guns drawn at dawn.
I cannot believe we have 300 more pages of
Nothing?
nothing. Purgatory.
Plot Purgatory, baby!
Help.
Oh.
Also, Ramonda's an asshole.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Her and Lilane. Her and Lilane are just like, we're the fucking worst. We walked out of the worst part of Robert Jordan's imagination, where he was just like, I just need two characters who are going to be like, no to the plot.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but why though? But why? While everyone is like watching all this, Swan comes up and is, I don't want to say chatting with Nynaeve and Elaine because that implies a functioning relationship.
Yeah.
They're just sort of sniping at each other. We learn that 7 people in Salidar died in the village, but nearly 100 died in the soldiers' camps because, of course, swords were flying around.
Yeah, a lot more dangerous than stools.
Yeah, it would make more sense. And they all just sort of, like, threaten each other. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, as soon as Tarna is gone and this announcement has been made that nothing is happening and everyone needs to shut up and go back to work, you filthy animals, Nynaeve heads over to talk to Shiriam and whoever else to be like, we found the magic bowl of the winds. And Elaine catches up with her. Nynaeve's like, we need to speak inside. So they go into a room with Shiriam and Morvrin and Carlinia, I think. It's not all 6. Mm-hmm. But Nynaeve is like, there's this bowl, we found it last night, it's Terangrial, we want to go to Ebudar to get it. And of course these women are like, why the fuck do you need to go to Ebudar?
Yeah.
We'll just let the envoy who is already in Ebudar know that she needs to be looking out for it. Apparently it's Marilil.
Meryl.
Marilily? Mary Lily.
Mary's Lily.
I'm gonna go with Marilil because that's how I pronounce it in my head.
Yeah, that's how I pronounce it in my head too.
Marilil is the ambassador who is already in Ebudar, not Edicina. I think I said that before. Apparently Edicina was sent to Terabon, so when she reappears in Ebudar as a Demon, that's why, because she got captured in Terabon.
Makes sense.
Marilil, I think, just gets sucked straight into Nynaeve and Elaine's group when they arrive. Mm-hmm. But these ladies are like, you can't go to Ebudar because you're accepted. And Elaine is like, well, I know the most about Terangrial, so I think I should be able to go. Here's what you should do. And they're like, no. She also says, you should also send a message to Rand, or to the embassy who is going to Camelin. And they're like, why? And Elaine just lies flat out and is like, well, I think the bowl needs a man to work it too. Not sure why Elaine tells this lie. Oh, it says, it tells me, if it required Rand, they could not pass up the chance to do something about the weather. And by the time she, quote-unquote, discovered that a circle of women could manage the bowl, the Aes Sedai and Salidar would have tied themselves to Rand too tightly to break loose. Oh, so she basically wants to initiate contact. Which I'm like, they're already doing that.
Yeah, again.
Not really sure why you guys want to get your little grubby hands in everything.
They're like pathological about it.
I know. And Shiriam's like, this isn't changing the fact that you guys are not full Aes Sedai. You can't just like be sent on quests. Sorry that Moiraine did that to you, but...
And Swan did that to you, but look what happened to them.
Yeah, here we are now. And then Nynaeve just, like, loses her temper and is like, you all are fucking cowards.
That's what I say to my boss all the time.
I mean, like, here's the thing is, she's right.
Yeah.
She's like, you guys are just sitting here, but you're not doing anything. The White Cloaks could attack at literally any moment. You have nothing to do with Eleda. You are just sort of terrified of Rand. You're afraid of the Black Aja. Apparently you think the Forsaken could attack at any time, but your response kind of sucked because not enough people knew that this was a fucking response that should be going on.
Yeah.
And you don't trust anyone. Like, you don't even trust me and Elaine, two people who handed you a broken seal to the Dark One's prison, so I don't really know what you guys have done to deserve. You're also enslaving a human. You have a Forsaken hiding under your bed, so...
let's not forget that.
It's a little rich.
Yeah, Nynaeve is kind of the queen of double standards.
Yeah. But Elaine's like, ooh, I mean, not a great way to say it, Nynaeve, but she's right. You guys are cowards. Now, as perhaps anyone could foresee, this does not end well. Elaine and Nynaeve get, like, sentenced to just work in the kitchens for the rest of their natural lives. And Elaine's like, you just had to lose your temper, didn't you? And Nynaeve's like, well, you were telling them how to be Aes Sedai, so shut up, maybe. And Phaolane is their overseer, so it's all great. And this is where we're leaving them for, I don't know, 100 pages. Until the next time Robert Jordan is like, what? I don't know what I'm doing. We then cut over to Sheriam and Carlinia, who are like, they're right, we are cowards. And I'm like, what was the point of this? Okay. Meanwhile, Rand is in Camelin. He is receiving a report from Morgoth's chief clerk, who is named Halwin Norry. I love Halwin Norry for the simple fact that he is an entirely inoffensive character. He's just a man who loves his job, and his job is the most boring shit in the entire world. And every character constantly is like, this man is so boring. And I'm like, now you know how I feel every time you open your mouth, Rand or Elaine.
Yeah.
This man is a hallmark of the boredom that I feel every time I'm in Camelin.
Yeah, Camelin is something else.
And governing Camelin, I don't give a shit about it. Ooh. But this man does. And honestly, I hope the best for him.
I hope he becomes the Queen of Andor.
I wish he would become Queen of Andor. I wish Halwin Norry was Queen of Andor.
Halwin Norry for Queen of Andor.
Anyway, Rand's just like, bah, boring. Then Bashir kind of pokes his head in, and Rand's like, ooh, gotta go. So he's like, get the fuck out, Norry. And Norry's like, okay, whatever, bye. Then Bashir comes back with 4 Andoran nobles, not the ones we've seen already. They're Daelin, Elorian, Luan, and it's spelled Abelle, like Abel. And
sure.
Now, call me a simple idiot who studied the French language, but the ELLE always makes me think it's a female name. So yeah. I'm always very confused when he turns out to be a man, Lord Abel. But then we also have Abel Cathan.
Yeah.
It's the same name, but different by 1 letter, you know?
Neat.
Anyway, Bashir, like, passes off these noble people to Rand. And there's some, like, Game of Houses shit, whatever the fuck. And Rand is like, oh, sit down and drink some wine with me. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, what do you guys, hey, have you guys heard that I'm looking for Elaine? And they're like, yeah. And Daelin's like, yeah, that's great. I think Elaine should be queen. And these other people, I don't know what Daelin was doing in the last couple books, but these other 3, Elorian and Luan and Abel or whatever, they were supporters of Morgoth, but when Ravin took over, they were mistreated. I think Elorian was literally, like, whipped.
Yeah.
And so they are no longer supporters of Morgoth. So getting them behind Elaine is going to be an issue, which is boring. And Rand is like, well, I really do want to get Elaine on the throne. And they're like, there are rumors that you killed Elaine. And he's like, why would I put out a proclamation that I'm looking for her then? And they're like, to cover up the crime. And he's like, this is some fucking CSI shit. I don't have time for... Look, I'm running 3 countries. You think I have time to cover up a murder?
And he's like, also, I want to bone Elaine.
Also...
real bad.
Yeah, he says, how many times must I say I don't want to rule Andor? He said after getting off the throne.
He's a stupid motherfucker. Dumb idiot ass.
Anyway, so these other three noble people are like, well, we think Dialyn should be queen. And Dialyn's like, well, I think Elaine should be queen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I do appreciate, Dialyn, that you're just desperately like, I don't want to be queen.
No, it sounds miserable. Who wants to be queen?
Give it to Halwin Norry.
Except, you're right, I'm sorry. Halwin Norry would do a great job.
Put a sword in the stone. Halwin Norry.
Every
draws it.
country. He's now the emperor.
He's in charge. But Dialyn is basically like, listen, we're gonna think about it, but as soon as I see Elaine is alive and she's the Queen of Andor, then of course I will send my men to support you, however much you need them. And everyone else is like, fine. Anyway, the whole time, Dialyn has kind of been looking at Rand funny, and apparently all of the Andor noble people have been doing that every time he interacts with them. So when these people go to leave, Rand catches Dialyn and is like, hey, can I just talk to you for a second? How come everyone's looking at me funny? And she goes, what's your mother's name? And he goes, her name is Shale of the Ale. Why?
Her name's Shale Spice.
I mean, it literally is just ale, but with a sh in front of it.
Shale. Yeah.
Shale. My mother's name was Shale. She was a maiden of the spear. My father was Jandwin, clan chief of the Tardad Ale. And she's like, oh, that's weird, because you have an Andoran accent. And he's like, I mean, yeah, I did grow up in Andor. And she's like, what? I mean, okay. She's like, well, we're all looking at you funny because you look like Tigraine. And he's like, excuse me? And she's like, yeah, he's like, piecing together, because Rand's heard shit about Tigraine before, and I guess had not put it together before this. But Dialyn is like, yeah, Tigraine just, like, left one day, like, everyone woke up and she just was not in the palace. Mm-hmm. And it was really whack, because only a year before, her brother Luke had also disappeared. And no one knew what had happened or where they went, and it triggered a whole war of succession, because their poor mother died of heartbreak after both her children fucking vanished into thin air. Mm-hmm. And that's how Morgoth ended up on the throne and married to Tigraine's ex-husband, Terengale, because Terengale's dream was to have a daughter rule Andor and a son rule Cairhien.
Classic
And I guess shit. Robert Jordan was like, and it's feminist that Elaine just ends up ruling both of them. No, it's not. Monarchy isn't feminist.
Ooh, there's the hot take of the season, baby.
Dialyn also talks about Gitara.
Gitara?
Yeah, it sounds like Katara, huh?
Gitara of the Southern Water.
Gitara Moroso, the Aes Sedai lady who prophesied Rand's birth, had also prophesied. Everyone, like, suspected that she had said something to Tigraine that made her disappear. Because in the same way, she had said something to Luke about his fate or his fame or something about the last battle being important for him to go up into the waste.
Yeah, the blight.
And I mean, I still don't get that. Because, yeah, Slayer Luke is in the last battle, but he's a bad guy, so.
I don't know.
Who's to say?
I don't know. But Rand is like, oh no.
Rand's like, ooh.
Is Tigraine?
He's like, this is all very confusing, but okay. And then Dialyn leaves, and Rand's like, I wish I knew my mom. And we're like, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's sad that you don't know your mom.
It's sad that you don't know your mom, and also that you can't ask her if Elaine is your cousin. Well, that would be nice for you to know. But then Bashir comes in and is like, hey, there's someone you need to see. And Rand's like, I'm going to Cairhien, so I don't want to see anyone unless it's an emergency. And Bashir's like, oh, it's an emergency. And it's this rando Illianer envoy, emissary, a guy from Ilion who, like, looks weird and that his face is, like, in this weird grin. It's like a clown face almost. He's got this weird grin, but his eyes are just like, yeah. So obviously Samael did some shit to him. And Rand's like, what's your message? And the dude just, like, uses Samael's voice to be like, hey, maybe we should team up. What Samael actually says is, let's just, like, not fight against each other until the last battle, because the other Forsaken are out there, and I just don't have the time. So how about he says, I will pledge not to move east beyond the plains of Morado, nor further north than Lugard in the east or Johanna in the west. Basically, he's like, there's still some room for me to grow. Believe me. But I'm not going to go past those places. And then he's like, and then it'll just be you and me, down to you and me at the last battle. And Rand's like, okay, well, that's a lot of lying, and also bad lying.
Yeah.
He's like, well, that was stupid and a waste of page space.
Yeah.
He's like, tell him fuck him. He doesn't get to escape justice for all the shit he did in the Age of Legends. The War of the Shadow. And I'm like, oh, but Mazrim Tem did.
But Mazrim Tem, different story.
War criminals.
Him I need.
Subjective. And this messenger just collapses. Dead. And Bashir's like, I mean, the fact that he's dead means that Samael will know what you said. And it's like, okay, whatever. Then Rand is getting ready to go to Kyrian when Avienda enters the room and is like, I need to go to Kyrian also, because I have to see the Wise Ones. It doesn't have shit to do with you, Rand. And he's like, fine, you can come. And that's the chapter. And also he's like, I have got to get away from Alana. And I'm like, I mean, yeah.
She's fair and valid.
Fucking worse.
Let's not forget that happened.
Yeah, he ruminates on that a little bit.
Poor Bashir.
Poor Bashir. Yeah, at the end, Bashir's like, hey, you do still need to see my horse stunts. And
Yeah.
Rand's like, y'all do it tomorrow. And Bashir's like,
I don't believe
you've been saying that for weeks.
Now who's the liar?
You've been putting off my horse stunts.
We're desperate to show you our horse stunts.
Or do whatever planning shit.
They're so good,
actually
Rand.
doing.
The horses themselves have started to do stunts at this point. Backflips and shit.
Like, what stunts could horses do? Dorsey, the torso horse.
I wish I had a horse.
Do you?
I love horses.
I like them in theory, but I don't want to own one.
I do.
Oh.
Go horseback riding all the time.
I guess, yeah, I don't really like riding horses, so I don't see the appeal.
I do understand that you were bit by a horse and in your formative years.
In my formative years, I was bit by a horse, and yet that has nothing to do with my feelings about horses today. It's very weird. Don't blame the horse for biting me. It's just like, the horse got a free pass.
Yeah, the horse is like snack time.
Every creature gets one free bite.
Tybalt is very much in debt.
Yeah, Tybalt. Is he still in here?
No, I don't know where he is.
Fuck did he go?
All my friends think horses are really terrifying, and they don't like them. And I don't get it, because I think horses are very beautiful.
I mean, they are terrifying, but they're also beautiful.
Yeah, they're like powerful, I get that.
Yeah, they're like sharks. They're beautiful, but also terrifying.
I knew that was coming.
A horse could kill you.
A horse could kill you.
It's less likely. Well, no, I don't know. I guess since we're not doing pitched battles anymore, where like cavalry is trampling each other.
Yeah.
Are you more likely to be killed by a shark or a horse?
I don't know.
Status. Never mind.
Whoa, stick to the status quo. That's not the tune of that song.
Stupid. I don't like 2021 already.
Well, we're not in 2021. Only the listeners are in 2021.
They don't like 2021 already.
Yeah, they're
if
gonna
this
be
is
like,
how it starts out.
Unsubscribe.
Bleh. Okay. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Glenn and Mackenzie for our theme song. Thank you to our Patreon supporters. At the time of you listening, there should be a new edition of In an Hour or Less up on our Patreon. I'll be talking about the Aeneid, a book I do not recommend.
A book Virgil did not recommend.
Virgil didn't even want it. Yeah, Virgil was like, fuck this book. Which, relatable, honestly.
I just think that fact is so funny.
It's great. Starting this month, we are shifting in our blogs from my whole reread of the last 3 books in A Wheel of Time to we're picking up with Sally's first time read through the series, starting with Path of Daggers. There will probably be a video game live stream on Friday, but moving into 2021, I think those will happen less. That was kind of something we started in quarantine as like 2020, and I just, it's not really something I intended to go on forever.
Yeah, every week is quite a commitment. And it takes away from other stuff that we could be doing for the podcast or otherwise.
Yeah, so every once in a while, and we'll try to announce it that week on social media, but you can anticipate fewer of those.
Yeah.
Not because we don't like you guys or don't like talking to you guys, but yeah, every Friday is a lot. Anything else?
Yes, this is not a programming note, but there has just been a slight uptick in people, well-intended, I know, and EHR listeners kind of coming into our DMs to offer me advice about my chronic pain, and I guess I just have not made it clear enough why this is upsetting to me. I spend 24 hours a day managing my pain, so I understand what works for me, and I know advice is well-intended, but it just can be very upsetting, especially when I am expecting to read something about the podcast and have people talking to me about pain, which can also just be kind of exhausting and triggering because it is something I have to think about and deal with all day long. So while I appreciate the concern, please do not do it. If it continues, I'm going to close our DMs and make you guys email us because it is genuinely very upsetting and it ruins my day every time it happens. So just, if you want to talk about pain, if you have questions or something you want to say, please just ask if that is something I would be open to. And if I say no, please do not continue to just DM me about chronic pain and advice about it. Yeah, I don't really know how to explain it more why offering unsolicited advice is upsetting, so just please don't do it.
Yeah. Good job.
Thanks.
Like, everyone is free to talk about their problems on Twitter without then receiving a response.
Yeah, and I understand, like, I'm very vocal about it. Because Twitter is kind of like a coping mechanism, especially when I'm not seeing my friends and family and not having as many people to talk to. Twitter is a form of, like, verbal ventilation or quasi-verbal ventilation to sort of, like, deal with what's happening and try and, like, work through that. But also, I hope that in this very kind of small but still public platform that, chronic pain can be extremely isolating and chronic illness is extremely isolating. And so for whoever out there who might hear me say something or read me say something, it might just be a little bit comforting. But that's a fine line to walk because I also do not want people just telling me to try CBD oil or use hand warmers or whatever. Sorry, I know that was a little random, but
2021 resolution.
Yeah, first time it happens in 2021, lads, I'm closing our DMs. I can't deal with it anymore. I have 5 doctors for a reason.
Yeah.
And following that, a positive sign off for once, my mom is getting her COVID vaccine tomorrow at 11.
Yeah, I overheard that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So because she's a healthcare worker, she gets one of the early rollouts.
Fuck yeah.
So she'll get her first one tomorrow and her second one 2 weeks later. I think that's how that works. She'll be fully vaccinated by the end of January, which is very exciting considering she tests 500 people a week for coronavirus. So
God.
She'll be more protected. Yay.
Good for Sally's mom.
Yeah. So, positivity.
And good for all healthcare workers.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Yeah, I'm glad you're getting vaccinated. And when it's your turn to get vaccinated, good for everyone.
Yeah, if it's your turn to get vaccinated, please do so if you're given the opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah. EHR is a podcast that believes in vaccines.
That's we shouldn't have to believe in vaccines. It's not Santa Claus.
I know.
We eliminated the smallpox with vaccines. All you fuckwads who don't believe in vaccines, shut up.
Yeah.
It's science, you stupid assholes. Okay, get your vaccine. Merry 2021.
Merry 2020.
I mean, it's not.
My
But
mom's calling me. Speaking
Okay.
of my mom.
goodbye.